Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, I'm Ottawa from Paper Flow Designs, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why you don't need Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, why you don't need it in terms of making SVG files, at least. All right. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for coming, showing up live if you're here live. If you're watching the replay, thank you as well. Hi, Veronica, how are you? If you have any questions, I'll be taking that at the end. I'm not going to take up too much time. We're probably just going to be on here for about 30 minutes just to give you my reasons why I think you don't need Adobe and what you can use instead. And also share this with someone if you know any other crafter, someone who loves to make SVG files, or maybe someone who wants to get started making SVG files. Share this with them. There's a button somewhere around here. Depending on whether you're on your computer or on mobile, it's somewhere around here. Just go ahead, click that link, share this with them. They will love you forever if they don't already. See, Irma, hello. How are you, Irma? What else did I wanted to say? Yeah, so if you have any questions, yeah, go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. I'll go ahead and answer those at the end. And let's get this party started. How are you guys? I am. It's like the beginning of winter. It's not even really winter yet. I think we're still in fall, but I can't deal. I can't deal with this cold weather. I'm just not a cold weather person. I've got my tea here, but I just stay cold all the time. I love the summer. Let me know also if you can hear me well because I got these headphones on. Oh, Irma, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I'm sure the person who sees that will also thank you as well. I feel like, we can't keep all these tips to ourselves. Because there was a time when I didn't know, and I had to go digging and looking for the information, and I would have been really happy if someone would have just said, hey, look, you can do this. All right. Veronica, thank you as well for sharing. All right, let's get that. Yeah, keep that going around. Keep sharing with that. Let me get myself situated here. So I'm talking today about why you don't need Adobe and what you can use instead. Let me know also if you already use, okay, great. Veronica told me she can hear me. Good. If you already use a software program, what's your favorite software program? If you use Adobe, let me know. If you use something else, let me know. Make my screen just a little bit bigger. All right, so like I said, I'm Ottawa from Paper Flow Designs. I have been drawing digital illustrations for about 3 years now. I one day decided, you know what, I want to learn how to do this. Went out, looked for the information, started learning how to do it, and then now I sell my designs on Etsy and also on my own website. Let me see. When I was first looking for it, I'm thinking that if you are like a beginner, the way I was about 3 years ago, I didn't know exactly what to use. I had heard about Adobe, and I was, to be honest, just really intimidated by it. I think the first time I probably tried a trial version, and I just thought oh my God, what is this? This is just so much going on here. So I didn't know if I was going to stick with it. So some of the things that made me hesitant were okay, you have to pay for this every single month. And at the beginning, I was just thinking, well, what if I'm not ready to pay for every single month for it? Also, I had just bought, probably like you, just bought some other tools like my drawing tablet, the pens that come with it, some other little side things like my hard drive, like your computer. I mean, some of those things you might already have, but when you're just getting started, there might be some things that you don't have at the beginning. Like, I don't know about you, but I didn't have a drawing tablet before I decided to learn how to draw, digitally at least. So all those kind of things, they add up. And afterwards, I'm thinking, okay, do I also want to pay a monthly subscription for something that, one, I don't know if I'm going to really learn how to use it well, and two, a drawing, no, a drawing tablet, not a drawing table, Irma. It's I have it tucked away, but but it's kind of like, think about like the mouse pad on your computer, but a bigger version with a pen. I do have a pen here. So I use the pen to draw on the drawing tablet, and then that shows up on my computer screen because it's connected to my computer. I think when you use Adobe Illustrator, you also have to use some kind of like graphic or drawing tablet. I call it drawing tablet. You might call it a graphic tablet or something else. Like some of the popular brands are like Wacom, Wacom. I never know how to pronounce it. There's a couple different companies that make those. An iPad Pro, yeah, exactly, Irma. An iPad Pro could be another example. So those things aren't cheap. So if you're already spending on that, I mean, if it's in your budget, then go ahead and buy all the things. But I remember for me in the beginning, I was kind of watching my budget because, like I said, it was the beginning, and I didn't know if I was going to stick with it. So I was looking for other programs that would work, even though I had heard that, like, okay, Adobe is the reference, like everybody's using Adobe. If you're not using Adobe, then what are you doing with your life? But the more I looked around, I found out there were like lots of other professional designers, not just hobby like drawers, and not just hobby drawers. Okay, what am I talking about? Not just like hobby designers, but people who are actually like do this that get paid for a living. I found out they were using other programs too. Some of them, a lot of them were using Adobe, but some of them were also using other programs too. So Adobe was not the only game going on. All right, another reason. So two of those reasons I mentioned for me, and maybe for you too, if you haven't already started using any program, that you've probably already invested a lot in different machines, tools. If you're doing this to make like SVG files or to make T-shirts or mugs, you probably bought your Cricut machine, you probably bought vinyl, all those other things you've invested in. You might be, just getting started, so you're not really sure. And there's also the commitment because I believe, like, what is it, the PSD files and Illustrator files, they might not be acceptable and used everywhere. Like, you might not be able to upload them to certain platforms if you're going to, like, make a product with it and upload it somewhere else, like, I want to say like Etsy or Creative Market. There's tons of them around. I know it's accepted in a lot of places, but maybe not everywhere, and it might not be easily transferable if somebody wants you to make a drawing for them or design for them and you send them those files. They're going to have something that lets them open those files as well. All right, enough of the blah blah. So what are these alternatives that you can use? So for me, I have found two that I really like, and they are Affinity Designer and Inkscape. You probably already heard maybe of both of them, maybe just one of them. For me, Affinity is kind of new to me. I don't know how long they've been around, but for me, it's newer than Inkscape. The reason why I like Affinity, it's even though you pay for it, it's not free, but it's not a monthly fee. Like you pay one time, it's not that expensive, and you get to use it, for as long as you want. You download the version onto your computer. I think it also works. They have a version for iPad. So yeah, so it'll work on Mac, it'll work on PC, it'll work on your iPad, which is not always the case for some other things. And it also, if you've heard of Affinity Designer, let me know if you have tried it. I know some of you have because you reached out to me to let me know. Okay, Veronica's asked me how much is Affinity Designer. I think they were doing a promo. I want to say it was like $50. Yeah, it was it was definitely not more than $50, and that is like the whole licensed fee. So it's not $50 a month. It's like you pay that one time. I also got the iPad version, and that was even cheaper. I want to say that was maybe like between 20 and 30. So for like less than $75, I got the the desktop version and the iPad version. So to me, it was worth it. And the other reason that I really like it, I'm still getting used to it, I'm still trying it out, but you can do vectors with it. So vectors are just, that's what the V in SVG stands for, vector. So SVG is a scalable vector graphic. Vectors are great because when you want to draw something and transfer it onto like a t-shirt or something like that, if you do that same drawing and you put it in like, what is it, Photoshop, raster designs, when you shrink it or enlarge it, it can get like pixelated and it won't be clear. So that's the reason why you use vectors. If so Affinity has the ability to do vectors and raster. So you can do both of those in one. It's like you paying for Photoshop and Illustrator and you have all of that in the same platform and all like on the same screen. You don't have to, switch between a couple of different things to use them. So that's why Affinity Designer is good if you like to use both of those different types of styles of drawing. Inkscape, which is number 2 on my list, which is probably number 1 because it's my favorite because I love it. It is a vector graphic program and it is an open source graphic program. Open source just means that it's free to use. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay like a monthly fee. You don't pay any fee to use it. It's compatible with PC, and I think if they don't have a version that works with like what is it, with Apple, they might be coming out with one soon. I have never used it on a Mac. I know like in the past, like it was available and then like it wasn't. So you might have to check that out if you are like a Mac user. But I know on PC it works. I use it. I've been using it for years. And so even though it's free, and I know some people are like, they think, oh, it's not really a good product because it's free, but that's not true. Like I said, there's professional designers that also use it for their professional work that they get paid for. And there's a huge team that works on it. These are like, developers that made the program up and they work on it constantly. And you can go on their forums, ask questions, participate in the forums, find answers to things. So it's a pretty active community. So it's not like it's just some program that somebody made, I don't know, 10 years ago. They just made it for free and just threw it out there and they never touch it again. It's something that it gets renewed. I want to say like every, I don't know how often, but I know since I've been using it for the past 3 years, there's at least been maybe 3 versions. And when they come out with a new version, it's not like everything's completely different. They're just improving it. So you still, it's still a program that you've been using. And, they just still improve it. And you can go to the website and the forum to see what the new things are that they've improved. I mean, it can get a little technical because these guys get deep into the technical things, but they do give you all the information on what's been changed. Right. So those are my 2 that I like to use. Those are my go-tos. I'm more comfortable with Inkscape. I'm more familiar with Inkscape. I've been using that for longer. But Affinity it's coming up there on my list of programs that I like just because it has so much capabilities. And I think you can also use Photoshop files in Affinity Designer. Did I say Affinity or Inkscape? I feel like I'm mixing them up. But yeah, you can use Affinity. You can use okay. You can use Photoshop and Illustrator files in Affinity Designer, if I'm not mistaken. So try that out if you already use Adobe and you want something else that's versatile, that has vector and raster all in one. And it's not too expensive. There's no monthly fee on that. So for me, I know when I first started using Inkscape, I was just like a little overwhelmed because I opened it up and it was like all of these buttons everywhere. And I just thought, oh, it'll be like, any other software program that I use. Like, not that I hadn't used any drawing programs before, but I was thinking, okay, like, Microsoft Word or Excel spreadsheets, or I don't know what I was thinking. But I opened it and there was like buttons everywhere, everywhere. And I was just like, okay, let me close that up. That's too much for me. So after like a few more days of doing that, okay, let me open it again and try something out. Following a couple of YouTube videos, and it wasn't necessarily like giving me what I needed. I was thinking it had to be some kind of like shortcut method, just like in like in Word, there's like shortcuts for things. So then I found out that there were shortcuts like keyboard shortcuts that you can type in to do different functions. So I went in, learned, like all the bunch of different shortcuts in there. And I just found out, the more you use it, the more, just like anything else, the more you practice at it, the better you get at it. So even though it's something new and it could be intimidating when you first look at it, it's pretty much, it can be the same way with Adobe. Like I don't have that much experience with using Adobe. I think I've, like I said, I tried it once, like on the trial version, and I just kind of like gave up. But if you can use Adobe, then you can for sure definitely use Inkscape or the Affinity Designer. Yeah, there isn't an iPad version directly for Inkscape, but I found a workaround. So there are apps that you can download to use Inkscape, and there's other app programs that you can download to make vector designs. And so I have a list of 7 web apps to make SVG files. So in the link somewhere in the description below, you can click on that to find out to download that. It's a free PDF, and it gives you 7 different apps to make SVG files. So if you're an iPad user or a tablet user or something else, an Android tablet user, you can download that list. All right, let me take a look now. I see some questions coming in. All right, let me see. I'm going to lean in even though I have my glasses on. All right, Veronica asks, what drawing pad do you recommend with Inkscape? The one that I use, I should goodness, I have this. It's like an, I want to say it's Asian. I don't know if it's from China necessarily, but what is it called again? It's like Huon. They give things like these names I can never pronounce, but I do have it listed on my references page. So if you go to paperflowdesigns.com/resources, I have it listed there, so you can see it over there. It's it's like a black tablet about that big, and I think the way that you pronounce it is Huon or Huon. It starts with an H. It's like Huoin. I've had that. That's what I started with, and it still works. So I didn't see a reason to upgrade to something else. I also use what do I have? I don't have it next to me. I use my iPad too. I use that for Affinity Designer. If I don't feel like sitting on my computer to draw, like if I'm in the living room or something, I'll just like whip out the iPad, and it's like seventh generation iPad, and I can just pull up Affinity Designer and use that on the iPad, or I can also use Affinity Designer on the computer. So I hope that helps. All right. Like I said, you can get that list of 7 web apps to try out if you like to work on an iPad or a tablet. And I also have an ebook for shortcuts for Inkscape. So like I told you, I was looking for shortcuts on how to use Inkscape because I'm like the shortcut queen. If I can find shortcuts to do something, I'm gonna go with that. So I, looked up to see what all the shortcuts were that were out there, and like put them all condensed in this really easy to use ebook that you can get, the link that's in the description. I have it listed in groups of like shortcuts for Mac users, shortcuts for what's the word, PC users, It's a downloadable file, so you can keep that downloaded on your phone or on your tablet, where you can also print it out. It's really easy to print out. It's like less than 15 pages, but it has like all the most popular shortcuts that I use every day when I'm designing something in Inkscape. And there's also a walkthrough video that shows you the tricks to master Inkscape. So if you're interested and you want to get that, there's also a link to get that in the description. All right. So those are my reasons why I think, Adobe is not the end all and be all. Even though people do love it, you're welcome. Or I'm thinking about the Mac users. Yeah, I was like hesitant to be a Mac user, but since I've had my iPad, it is handy. I kind of like it, and it is like it's an easy to use tool. And I also use it's not a vector program, but what's it? Procreate. Procreate. If you really like drawing in raster, Procreate is like it's not so expensive and it's really easy to use too, and it's fun. And you can make like little animated drawings in Procreate. So, all right, but let me getting off track. So you can see that you don't have to use just Adobe. You don't have to be paying like a monthly subscription if you don't want to. If you have it and if you like it, that's fine too. Or even if you want to try something else out, you can see there's other things out there on the market. Try out Affinity Designer. I think they might have like a free trial period. I'm pretty sure before I bought mine, I tried it out for like maybe like a 30-day trial period. I liked it, so I bought it. And Inkscape, like I said, there's nothing for you to buy because it's open source. I tried it out. I was a little nervous in the beginning because like I said, I opened it up and I was thinking, okay, it's kind of like it's not too far, it's not that different from Adobe because like you still have all the same capabilities with you as far as like drawing, as far as like copying, putting gradients, cutting things out, using the files for Cricut because I know that's really important to a lot of people. But you can do all of those things in Inkscape as well, and it's open source, so you can't beat that. Let me know if you have any other questions. Even if you're watching this on the replay later and you have questions, go ahead and drop them in because I like to come back and check every once in a while to see if there's other questions that I can answer for people. And check out the PDF, the free PDF, if you want to know about different apps that you can use. And if you're ready to get that ebook so you can know all the shortcuts, there's also the link in there that you can check out. So I don't see any other questions. I know sometimes there can be like a little delay, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. This was fun. I'm like loving to getting back in this. I was doing this before in the summer and I kind of slowed down and I missed it. And I love the questions that you guys are bringing me too. Sometimes, you after you've been doing something for a while, you kind of forget about the questions that you had and in the beginning. So I like doing these and getting like, these fresh questions that people are asking me. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me talk about that. That's interesting. Next week, I will be talking about 10 of the best-selling crafts that you could be making. Some of them I'm sure you're probably already making. And if you're not, come back and join me next Friday to get some ideas for other crafts that you can be doing. There's always like more things that we don't know. There's tons of things that I don't know either. So when I hear about new things, I like to come on here and share that with you guys. Veronica, you are welcome. You're welcome. It's not just a one-way street because I come on here, like I said, and I get emails from people and they tell me about, okay, can you talk about this, or I'm interested in this topic. That helps me too because I learn about different things. So next week, I will be talking about, like I said, the 10 best-selling crafts that I've seen going on now. So join me for that. It'll be at the same time on Friday. If you're not out like shopping, but I think we're probably all going to be inside. You know what I mean? All right. Well, I will be signing off. I don't see any other questions. But thank you again. Thank you so much and have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.